What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Salami squad around the world? The Meat Pack is in the building. It's your boy Mike Rogers. Got Mike Richman in the cut. And today, folks, we are going on the block with the Meat Pack because we got some NBA semifinals to update y'all on. Been some crazy series going on right now. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the East. What's going on there? We got the Atlanta Hawks versus the Milwaukee Bucks. We just saw game 4. The Hawks kind of blow out the Bucks here in this game 4 to tie this series up 2-2. And this has been my thing with the Bucks. I've been frustrated about this the whole entire playoff series they're on right now. Is when they're shooting less than 33s a game, they're like 4-1, 5-1 in these playoffs. And my biggest struggle with them is they're just kind of coming out and jacking up threes. That's obviously a Hawk style of play, and the Bucks are not going to be able to match that. No one can touch the Bucks in the paint. They've been able to prove that all NBA season long, and they just not playing that way, I think, to their fullest potential. Giannis comes out in the first half and bricks like 2 threes, air balls one. I mean, why are we shooting threes like that? They clearly could dominate these teams in the paint, and they're not just doing it. Obviously, Giannis goes down. Trae Young misses this game 4, so now both teams are down, both their superstars. And my thing is, I think Milwaukee has the better team still. My problem with Milwaukee right now is just I don't know if they got them killers on it. I don't know if Chris Middleton, I don't know if Drew Holiday are those dudes that are going to be able to step up and take over this thing. They're obviously great, solid young players. I still think they're great defensively, but I don't think they've been playing these matchups well, especially in game 4. They shot way too many threes. They went like 5 for 39. I mean, they're just not going to win this series. They're not going to win a championship playing like that. But big shout out to the Hawks, man, for coming in and tying up this series without Trae Young in the game. They played a phenomenal game. Bogdan Bogdanovic, Danilo Gallinari contributing. I mean, it's been a good little series out here in the East, man. The Hawks have just been grinding it.
Yeah, I mean, both these teams have won one and lost one on the road here, tied at 2-2. So obviously some super competitive basketball going on. It's kind of been back and forth, blowout type games. In game 3, though, we saw Chris Middleton pop off. Yeah. Exactly to the point of you saying, like, the Bucks haven't had the second guy. But in that game 3, we really saw the Batman and Robin between Chris Middleton and Giannis. And he was balling, and it really was working great. But obviously, like you said, Giannis going down now, he's the heart and soul of this team, and he has been the entire time he's been there. So that's obviously the biggest hit they could take. Trae going down on the other side, probably going to be back in that game 5. Giannis confirmed out. So that's going to be a toughie for both of these teams. But I mean, this is putting the Hawks in a good position to win this second road game here. So if they could be up in the series 3-2 here and then take it back to Atlanta, I mean, that's a good look for them. I mean, get Trae a couple days rest, whatever he needs. But I don't know. I really believe either of these teams could steal it. I mean, this is a pretty even matchup, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I think if the game plan for the Bucks is to go out with the game plan they had in game 4, I mean, I think the Hawks take this series all day. I don't think that's going to win this series for the Bucks, especially with Giannis being out. So I want to know what the game plan is going to be for this team.
They might feel pressure to jack up more threes because they don't have that pressure in the paint.
They might, and I just think the Hawks and the role they're on are going to be able to take advantage of that, come out of the East, which would be hyped to see. But great series, hyped to watch the next game, game 5, see who comes out on top here. But we're going to go ahead and go on to the West side of things now. West side, we got the Phoenix Suns versus the LA Clippers. Phoenix leading the series 3-2. We just saw in game 5 the Clippers get a big win on the road there in the Valley. This man, Paul George, we saw that playoff P. Obviously, a bunch of stuff going on right now about this narrative created around Paul George and whatnot, which, I mean, hey, Paul George has always been a phenomenal talent, great player, but he called himself playoff P. So with that, with great players in the league, man, we expect great things. And he did show up in that game 5, called out, had a huge contribution from Boogie Cousins on the bench. So, I mean, listen, the Clippers to me are still a deep team, even without Kawhi Leonard. Like, this is a good basketball team. Marcus Morris, I think, is one of the leaders on that team. Get that energy going. And I mean, they got some dogs. If Reggie Jackson and Boogie Cousins, if those type of players that are on this Clippers team can continue to do that, it's going to be a solid basketball team. And I mean, here's my thing with Phoenix right now is, I don't know if Chris Paul's maybe feeling a little bit of pressure. I mean, we've been known to see this happen in his career. I saw some stats over game 4 and 5, or I think in this series in general, that when Chris Paul is on the floor, Devin Booker's been playing significantly less. But I mean, DeAndre Ayton is still blowing up before our eyes. I mean, the Phoenix Suns are still up 3-2 in this series. So, I mean, they can go ahead and close this thing out. I think if this thing does get to game 7, though, if the Clippers come out and win this game 6, I think they take the series.
Yeah.
I think the moment's going to be too big for the Phoenix Suns. And I think if Paul George can come out and get that same energy he has rolling like he did in that game 5, putting up 41, I mean, this could turn into a 7-game series. Clippers might steal this.
100% agree, and it just goes right along with the run that the Clippers are having. Every series they've had so far has just been a fucking dogfight. Game 6, Game 7s, just playing their hearts out. I mean, Paul George has the most minutes played out of anyone in this year's playoffs. So out here balling, obviously, like I said, 41 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists in that Game 5. And then Marcus Morris putting up 22. Reggie Jackson popping off 23 points. I mean, that's huge. And when LA is getting production like that off their bench, the Phoenix Suns have to match that. It can't just be Devin Booker and Chris Paul out there. Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder campaign didn't really show up, and they had a lot of minutes, bro. So, I mean, their bench just needs to score here. But I agree with you. It feels like the Clippers are getting hot here, and this is just kind of what they're doing this year. I mean, they're getting down bad in these series, and they're just coming back from it. So I don't know what the deal is with Kawhi, but they were able to do this Game 5, down 3-1, win 116-102. That's a big spread there, boys. So
big spread.
I don't know. They might get Kawhi back just at the perfect time here.
Yeah, and I think that could honestly set them over the edge. I do think if the Clippers, like I said, get to a Game 7, they win. And honestly, at this point, between what's going on with Atlanta and Milwaukee, I think the Clippers are able to make the finals. They're going to go ahead and win this thing. We've seen with Phoenix them get through 2 series, like sweeping. Obviously, the Lakers got a game. And then we've seen the complete opposite on the Clipper side of things, where they've been fighting in these series, man. They've been dogs. They've been down. Yep. They've been coming back. So, I mean, this is a hard-fought playoff run for these Clippers, but they can just push a little bit longer and keep doing what they're doing. They might fuck around and go ahead and get that chip. But these have been 2 exciting series. We definitely know for sure we're going to get 2 teams in the finals we haven't seen in a long time. I think between the Bucks, or at least the Suns and the Clippers, this would be their first chance to win a championship. So, I mean, this is exciting either way. These have been 2 really good series to watch. Other than that, I mean, we got anything else for the crew there, Richie?
Yeah, so real quick before we get out of here. So this year playoffs, this year basketball season in general, we've just kind of seen the older stars get eliminated, and all these young gun stars are starting to come up in the league. So I want to give you a question here. Who's a better basketball player? Whose stock raises more after this season? Trae Young or Devin Booker?
That's honestly a really good question. And like before talking specifically about that, like you said, we're seeing these kind of older stars as these guys are getting into their 30s and whatnot. I think the league is in great hands for the next 5 years between Booker, between Young, Luka.
These are all the teams that got eliminated.
Jason Tatum. I mean, this league is in great hands for the next 10 years with these young stars. But whose stock rises more? I mean, I feel like it could be either. I mean, to me, I think what Trae Young has been able to do, especially for his size, is kind of incredible. Like when he first came to the league, we thought he was going to be Steph Curry V2. And I mean, he's definitely not as good of a shooter as Steph Curry, but he's been able to do things in ways that I did not expect him to do. The way he handles the ball and has turned into a playmaker. And obviously, we've seen some compilations of him getting them little cheap buckets with the fouls. I know that the league next year said they're going to go ahead. They're not calling those anymore, which I don't know. I think we're going to see a lot of people's offensive games get shaped around, before that. But, and my thing with Devin Booker is I think Devin Booker might have the higher ceiling just based off pure scoring. My only thing, I could see where Trae Young's stock can rise a little bit higher just because he has the ball in his hands most of the time. We've seen Devin Booker be a point guard before, and it just not really work out as much. To me, he's the perfect 2 guard. He needs a point guard to be able to create for him, because what makes Devin Booker so good to me is his ability to move off the ball, creating those picks for himself and just being able to get open. So I don't know. We could potentially see those 2 in the finals. I think it'd be legendary. Like I said, between Devin Booker, Trae Young, this team's the NBA is going to have some faces for the next couple of years. But if I had to guess in 10 years who the better player, I would go ahead and say Trae Young, just because I think him having the ball in his hands, most of the time, and just I think he can. I don't know. To me, Devin Booker's shot and scoring ability is like butter. So I don't really know, dude. I think Devin Booker needs a more structured team based around him. But I don't know. That's a good question.
All right, brother. Well, with that being said, Salami Squad, thanks for tuning in. Go ahead and watch yourself these NBA playoffs. They're wrapping up. But with that being said, we are the
Perfect.